Football is in tatters. Heck, it may be dead to some people, but one thing we do have at least we have proper football, championship football, playing out proper football games, proper championship results. Let's talk about this type of football. What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Of course, Norwich got promoted to the Premier League without having to kick a ball around, so congratulations to Norwich City going up from the Championship. If you guys got a correct score, your comment will be on the screen right now. Quite a fair few of you did get a correct score. Well done Honeygun in particular, getting 4 correct scores, fair play. I got 1 correct score, which was the Rotherham and Birmingham game, which ended 1-0 to Birmingham. This is what the Lexus Hall of Fame looks like now. We have a new leader. Charlie Brown has now taken the lead with a fantastic game week, getting 3 correct scores. So I've got to up my game here. And this is what the Championship Lexus Hall of Fame looks like now. There's a little bit of movement with Joshua Frood and Championship HQ in particular moving up the ranks. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like, it's tremendously appreciated. If you haven't been subscribed, please do so. We're really trying to push to 500 subscribers before the end of the season. And please share my channel and this video to as many people as you can. But without any further ado, let's go on with this weekend's games. So let's start off with the first game on Friday, which was Blackburn and Derby, which ended 2-1 to Blackburn. It was Derby who actually took the lead, and they started pretty well. And I say Derby were rewarded for their fantastic start. It was Graham Shinney actually who crossed the fantastic ball, and Tom Lawrence with a pretty clever header to make it 1-0. And it was Derby who I felt were playing the better stuff. They were asking more for questions. Blackburn didn't really get a foothold in the game, but just before half-time, they did somehow get a goal back into it, and it was Sam Gallagher with a very clever header beating his defender to make it 1-1. And then in the second half, it could have really been either team, really. I think it was Derby still having the control, but Blackburn, with the amount of chances they created, were outstanding, really. Blackburn did get their second goal. Wisdom will be at fault for giving away possession to Armstrong. He gives it to Harvey Elliott on his 50th appearance. He whips in a fantastic strike past the reach of Marshall to make it 2-1. Derby continued to pray forward. Byrne unfortunately hit the post, and Kaminsky made some important saves, one for Cullen and Kazim Richards. But it's disappointing for Derby for the fact they have now got a bit of a gap between the teams around them, because Huddersfield, the team above them in 20th, are now got a 4-point gap from Derby. They're only 4 points ahead of Rotherham and have played 2 games more. As with Blackburn, I think this diminishes any sorts of fear of relegation. Now they've cracked the 50-point margin. Their first win in 16 games, so unbelievable stuff for Blackburn. They are now going to be riding comfortable at the end of the season. And then both having a dent in their playoff hopes as Reading and Cardiff play out a 1-1 draw. Do I think it was a deserved result? I think so. For me, as Reading, convincing as they were on the ball, creating chances wise, I thought they were quite below par. It wasn't the best game to watch as a neutral fan, but it went to life in the 87th minute when Kiefer Moore won a penalty. It was a very poor challenge by Omar Richards, literally catching Kiefer Moore's leg. Kiefer Moore steps up, very confident penalty in those sorts of pressures as well to make it 1-0 to Cardiff. And we thought that Cardiff have saved themselves getting to the top 6. But Yaku Mate with a 94th minute equaliser, literally the last kick of the game as well. It's heartbreak for Cardiff, really, because they could have really had a second chance almost to try and get into that top 6 if they held on against their playoff rivals. But I think this pretty much puts the playoff picture to bed for Cardiff now. That's with Reading. They've still got a slim chance for me. They technically gained 1 point closer to Barnsley now following that Barnsley loss. They're going to have to hope that Barnsley lose some games, and Reading cannot afford to lose too many games. Reading have Swansea and Norwich coming up, so it's not going to be an easy end to the season for Reading. And then to the 12:30s on Saturday, we'll start off with Brentford 0, Millwall 0. Very disappointing game this was. In contention, in my opinion, to be one of the worst games, not only this weekend, but in the whole entire season. We've only had 1 shot on target in the whole 90 minutes, which was an Ivan Toney shot that was blocked. Honestly, it was that bad. And the quality of chances that Brentford tried to make as well, awful. They were trying to set a new world record on how high they can kick the ball away from the goal. I think you can argue it's because both these teams were very, very tight at the back, and they did restrict many clear-cut chances. But for Brentford's part, This was a missed opportunity. Following that Watford dropped points this weekend, this could have been a huge statement from Brentford to say, you know what, we're not giving up promotion. But I think with that now, they're going to have to be near perfect near the end of the season. Brentford's still got to play Bournemouth as well. They have got to play Watford as well, Brentford. They've not got an easy end to the season, and they need to take advantage on both of those games. As with Millwall, more understandable why they play this sort of game. They're safe from anything, you know, they don't really have a lot to play for now, and I would say they deserved the point because honestly I think they weren't too troubled. And then the M1 derby part 2 did not disappoint, as it was Luton this time who managed to pick up the win with a 1-0 victory. I think it's their first win at Kenilworth Road against Watford in over 16 years, which is crazy for Luton Town. And this would have been a buzzing game to have fans in the stadium for. So I'm gutted, really, that there were no fans in the stadium. This game was very tight, but in terms of the team who had the better chances, it was Luton all the way. They were the better team for minute one. Watford only had 5 shots on goal with not a single shot on target. Eventually got to Luton's way with a penalty being conceded by Batman. It was a really poor back pass. I know a lot of people slated Batman for bringing down Adebayo in the box, but the back pass was equally as poor. James Collins was literally subbed on. His first touch was his penalty. Brilliantly struck penalty to make it 1-0 to Luton. There was more controversy as well. Siri Alta got a second yellow card for a red card. And even more controversy, Watford did have a goal ruled out for offside in the final minutes of the game. It was Andre Gray that got the final touch, but he was in an offside position, and I think it was the correct decision also. With Watford, I think they'll be breathing a sigh of relief for the fact that Swansea and Brentford did not win this weekend. They saw Queen's Park Rangers picking up a 2-1 away victory, just really typifying their inconsistent run of form at the moment. Their last 4 games is alternated between a win and a loss. So Queen's Park Rangers have been a bit inconsistent, but they scored 2 quick-fire goals. Rob Dickey with the first one, an unbelievable strike from just outside the box to make it 1-0 for Queen's Park Rangers. The second goal came to Lee Wallace with his first championship goal. The movement in the left-hand side to create that goal as well was honestly brilliant play by Queen's Park Rangers to make it 2-0. Middlesbrough eventually got a foothold in the game, and they did get one back, which could have been crucial at the time. Niskins Cabano on the right-hand side with a fantastic looping delivery. Yannick Balassi with a header to make it 2-1. And unfortunately, in the rest of the game, it was quite quiet until we have yet another red card to talk about. And it was Seny Dieng who got a straight red card, denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity with him going off his line. It was a clear red card. Joe Lumley had to go in goal. I was a bit nervous about Joe Lumley going in goal for the fact he's not played much football. But he made 2 important reflex saves. One from George Saville in particular, which was so difficult. As in Middlesbrough, if they're not careful, they could fall as low as 14th place, really, especially if they cannot pick up their form right now. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, so Middlesbrough need to try and pick up some form somewhere. And then we see Huddersfield saving themselves from the drop potentially with a 2-0 away victory to Nottingham Forest. And what was fantastic about Huddersfield in this game, they didn't need to be in the game all that much, but they waited for an opportunity for Nottingham Forest to make some mistakes, and they pounced on it, and that's what they did twice as well. And in fact, in terms of chances go, I would say Huddersfield still had the better chances before they got their goal. So I would say Huddersfield looked the more threatening side. Their first goal was a poor mistake by James Garner, playing it in behind Scott McKenna. It finds Aaron Rowe, who I dare say was a fantastic talent in this game. He is going to be a highly rated player. I can already feel it. In the second half, it was pretty much the same old story, really. Nottingham Forest did have to try and probe a little bit more to get something into it. And Sheffield did make quite a few important saves, don't get me wrong. But apart from that, really, you know, it seemed a bit casual for Huddersfield. And then they got their second goal, once again from another mistake. And it was Junior Bakuna this time who managed to loop the ball. A fantastic strike actually past Barisha Samba to make it 2-0 to Huddersfield. And surely this win now saves Huddersfield from the drop. In terms of Nottingham Forest, once again, it shows to me that it's not quite going all to plan with Chris Hughton in charge. Chris Hughton definitely for me needs a transfer window, and he'll be properly judged at Nottingham Forest when the new season starts. And is this the game that relegates Sheffield Wednesday as they fail to beat a 10-man Bristol City side, drawing 1-1 with them? Honestly, They scored the first goal in the whole championship in this weekend. And I thought Sheffield Wednesday were going to be quite comfortable. It was Julian Borner with the goal from a Barry Banner corner. The ball gets pinballed and Borner with the header to make it 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. And it turned out that Henry Lansbury had to do his best goalkeeping impression, keeping the ball from the line. I don't think it would have gone in actually, but despite that, it was still an attempted handball. So it was a penalty to Sheffield Wednesday and Lansbury with a straight red card. Maybe that was a bit harsh, but it was a penalty. Barry Bannon stepped up and he missed a very poor penalty that Daniel Bentley made the save for. And we later find out that that missed penalty came to cost Sheffield Wednesday, because despite having opportunities, Bristol City started gaining confidence and getting into this game. And I think while Sheffield Wednesday worked so hard to get those opportunities, they really lacked the stamina to try and close down Bristol City. And that's exactly what they didn't do to Backinson. If he was closed down, he would have not been able to get his shot across. But a fantastic strike by Backinson past the reach of Kieran Westwood to make it 1-1 to Bristol City in the 87th minute as well. Following this draw, I've lost hope in Sheffield Wednesday now. All it's down now is how Darren Moore does with his Sheffield Wednesday side in League One and how many of those core players stay at Sheffield Wednesday. And then another boring game, Stoke 0, Preston 0, but this was a more entertaining game because both sides hit the woodwork at separate stages of the game. And it was a very interesting game to see how the momentum shifted, because I felt for about 70% of that game or so, it was Stoke leading the momentum and the drive. They definitely had the better chances and Iverson made the more key saves. Preston in the final 20 or so minutes started climbing into the game, and they were the ones answering the questions this time. And it was interesting to see this change in momentum as well. And it was as soon as they started to gain more energy and playing and getting into more pockets of space that Preston looked so dangerous. And their best bit of play ended with Harry Souttar getting a second yellow and a red card. It was a fast break by Preston and Alan Brown getting into a fantastic pocket of space. He goes through one-on-one. Souttar brings him down just outside the area. Souttar gets a red card, but by that time, Preston only had 2 minutes plus stoppage time to get something. Preston, for me, are safe from relegation. They don't have a lot to play for. Stoke, likewise Middlesbrough, poor run of form, to be honest with you. It is 8 points dropped in their last 3 games. Likewise with many teams, Stoke don't have a lot to play for me. And then is this the game that relegates Wycombe? 2-2 the final score, and following this result, that is how Norwich got promoted. It was a very close game actually, and I think Wycombe had intent to try and get something. And I think Wycombe have to play with that attitude now. They're rock bottom right now. They've really got everything to play for. You know, they're not relegated yet. I mean, following this draw right now, they could get relegated in midweek. But they played with an intent to try and get a win. Wycombe scored 2 quick-fire goals. Musquay with a fantastic half volley. I mean, the technique he had in that half volley was unbelievable to make it 1-0. And then Gareth McCleary makes it 2. And I thought that Wycombe were actually going to get a shock win and a lifeline to stop them from getting relegated. But the game-changing moment was when a penalty was conceded in the 80th minute from a handball. I thought it was very harsh in my honest opinion. He could have really moved his hand out the way, really. Jamal Lowe stepped up to make it 2-1, and then Liam Cullen, who of course you may know him from my championship project, he manages to get the equaliser 3 minutes later to make it 2-2. It was like 2 different teams with entirely different things to fight for. Both of these sides would really hate this result for very different reasons. Wycombe, for me, I think are down, unfortunately, now, and it has honestly been a pleasure seeing them in the championship for me, because they are a team that do not give up. And then the champions managed to get beaten by the informed team in the championship, Bournemouth, by 3-1. And Bournemouth saying, hang on a minute, we want to join your promotion party. They had intent in this game, blimey. Norwich got the lead, a fantastic team goal. Pookie with a backheel pass to get through 2 defenders and to find Buendia in that space, making it 1-0. That sort of football is why Norwich have been winning and blowing the championship away. But the game changed when Gian Lewis stamped on Ben Pearson. I thought it was a bit accidental, but it was very reckless, I thought, from both of them. But for me, it was definitely a red card warranty. You can't stamp on someone. And then, following the fact that Bournemouth had a numerical advantage, they really took it to Norwich, and they did get rewarded for it. They had to wait a little bit because Norwich were holding firm at the back. The goal scoring started from Sam Sarge. It was a bit of a pinball. I mean, Dan Zuma to get past Buendia, how he did, was unbelievable. He looped a dangerous ball to Solanke. It got deflected to Sam Surridge to make it 1-1. And then Danjuma scores a goal on his own, probably my goal of the weekend, outside the box, top left corner to make it 2-1 to Bournemouth. And then for the third one, Lloyd Kelly with his first goal for Bournemouth just outside of the box. Honestly, I don't think Norwich would even care at this point. They partied afterwards, they had all the celebrations, and it was warranted for their fantastic season in the Championship. As with Bournemouth, this is a huge win for them. They increased the gap between them and Barnsley right now. And really, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think they've secured their top 6 place. I really do not think Bournemouth could collapse right now. I mean, we've seen Nottingham Forest collapse in this position where they were 6 points ahead. So maybe it could happen to anyone. It would be very surprising for me if I see this team drop out of the top 6. Then Rotherham failed to win another 6-pointer as it's Birmingham who pick up the 1-0 away victory. This game was a bit slow. Rotherham, for me, did have the better chances. The first half, the only notable chance came to Michael Smith, where he managed to shoot it wide. In the second half, the game was a lot more open and Birmingham started to have a couple more opportunities. I mean, I think it was one of those games that I think a draw would have been a fair result. But at the same time, the game was on a knife edge. Whoever was going to take their chances was going to be the team who would snatch and grab the all 3 points. And it was Harley Dean, the hero, once again. He did it against Reading. He's done it against Rotherham. Harley Dean winning the header over Iweke to make it 1-0 to Birmingham. And for me, that saves Birmingham's season. Now, what an unbelievable turnaround it has been from Lee Bowyer. 6 games Bowyer's been in charge for, 4 wins out of those 6 games. Unbelievable stuff from Lee Bowyer, really. What a turnaround. As with Rotherham, they're now 4 points behind Derby. For me, Derby or Rotherham will occupy that final relegation place now. And to finally end it off, we see Coventry save themselves from relegation with a 2-0 victory over playoff chasing Barnsley. Barnsley's long winning streak away from home ends. And honestly, it was a fantastic couple of days for Coventry. 2 brilliant performances in the matter of 3 days, which is unbelievable for this Coventry side, really. They were fantastic against Rotherham and very much deserved to get that 1-0 win. But they continued that same performance against a Barnsley side full of confidence and up there, getting into the top 6 with a lot to play for. And they did take the lead, Coventry, very, very quickly with Dominic Hyan getting the goal. Barnsley, yes, they did have their chances and Ben Wilson was quite important at certain times in goal. But Barnsley, for me, have been the most disappointing that I've seen them under Ishmael so far. They've only had 2 shots on target, 7 shots compared to Coventry's 14 shots. It was comprehensive that Coventry were creating the more opportunities, the more desire to try and go for goal. And in the end of it, because Barnsley did commit many men forward, a long direct ball over the top of the defence found Matt Godden beating Matt Anderson and the goalkeeper to make it 2-0. And honestly, Godden probably should have scored again as well. Literally carbon copy. I think with Barnsley, if they could just win 2, maybe just even 1 more game, then I think Barnsley will secure their top 6 place. So that wraps it up for my reaction to the Championship weekend. On the left-hand side is the Championship table. Norwich automatically promoted. Will they finish as champions? They need 95 points, Norwich, to be champions. Reading, the only side now in contention game to the top 6. And if you look at the bottom part, the relegation picture, Derby, the only team now in danger of relegation. Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe still occupy the bottom 3. So before I end the video, I'm going to predict my mid-week fixtures as well. So as always, make sure you comment those predictions in the comments down below. So I'll talk over my predictions for the Championship. Brentford, Cardiff. I see 1-1. I don't see either of these sides winning. Norwich, Watford. I mean, it's a top of the table clash, really. And Norwich will be glad they're promoted already. So I'm going to say 2-1 Norwich. I think they're going to go on a party. Preston, Derby. I'm going to say 0-0. I don't see many goals. Sheffield Wednesday, Blackburn. 1-1 again. I'm going for many draws. Swansea, Queen's Park Rangers. I think Swansea will edge this. I think Queen's Park Rangers will be inconsistent. Again, I'm going to say 2-1 Swansea. Millwall, Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth will continue that fantastic run of form. I'm going to say 2-1 Bournemouth. I don't think there'll be too many goals. Rotherham, Middlesbrough. 1-1. I'm going to say 1-1 for that one. Stoke, Coventry. Once again, I don't see many goals. I'm going to say 0-0. Wycombe, Bristol City. I see Wycombe winning this one. I'm going to say 2-1 Wycombe. Birmingham, Forest. I'm going to say 1-0 Birmingham. I'm a bit more confident with them. Huddersfield and Barnsley. Yorkshire Derby, so you don't know this game. I think it'll be tight and cagey. I'm going to say 1-1. And Luton and Reading. This is tough. I'm going to say 2-1 Reading. I don't know. I think they may pull something out in this game. But that wraps up all my predictions for midweek. Make sure you comment those predictions in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you do give this video a like, tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. It really made my day. And please share my channel as well, although it really made my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for the end of this video. And as always, take care, everyone.